he's coming through. But our topic tonight is child support. All right, child support. So yesterday, I not yesterday, but the day before, I took part, or not took part. I didn't really take part in the show, but I called into a show, and the topic or the question posed was, should active fathers be put on child support? And so that show inspired this idea. We were going to do it anyway at some point. But after that show, we were like, you know what? Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about it on our show. So that's the topic tonight. We will be talking about child support. We all have our own individual experiences and stances on this topic. But here in the ladies' room, what we like to do is address things on a deeper level, right? So we're gonna look at all perspectives. We're gonna address the nuances of it and really just start peeling back some of the layers concerning child support. All right. So I have some stats. These stats are stats that I got from the United States Census Bureau. Okay. And this is the most recent data published in 2018. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just share some of these stats. We got Rilla with us. Hey, Rilla.
He probably need a second.
Yeah, maybe he's not ready yet. Okay, we'll bring him up in a minute. But I want to go ahead and address some of the stats here. So about 2/3 or 69.3% of custodial parents who are due child support receive some payments, while only 43.5% reported receiving the full amount. All right. About 22.4 million children had a parent who lived outside of their household, right? So there are a lot of children who are living with one parent, right? That's about 1/4 of all children under the age of 21 years of age. Approximately 31% of them were in poverty. And a little side note is that 51.9% of those children are Black children. 1/2 of all custodial parents has some type of agreement, whether it was legal or not, for child support. 52.7% of mothers, custodial mothers, have agreements, and 39.6% of custodial fathers have agreements. And I have a bunch of other stats about this issue, and we'll just address them as we go on. But I wanted to just pose a general question. And I see Tawana in the chat. Hey, Tawana. Hey, Daryl, get on up here. I just want to pose a general question to you all. Do you think that child support is necessary? What do you all think?
Hell yeah, it's necessary.
Okay.
Got to take care of these kids by any means necessary. So I think it's very necessary. That's just the end of that. You know, I mean, that's self-explanatory. Child support. Why wouldn't it be necessary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually. Go ahead.
Oh no, you just want the question. We gonna elaborate a little bit more, or you
No,
just?
I mean, if that's
Well, part of the question that was asked on the other show was, well, basically what they were saying is that if it's an active father, then active father shouldn't be put on child support.
Right, but so active is subjective, right? And it all depends on what you think is being active. And from my experience, a lot of men don't know what being active really means. So that's why they be surprised when they are put on child support. Just for the basics, if you break up with your girl or your wife or whatever her case, and y'all separate, and the courts give custody to the woman, for me, I would think active financially means, okay, I know summer's coming up, so I'm gonna prepare for summer clothes. Winter's coming up, I'm gonna prepare for winter clothes. I'm gonna prepare for holidays, birthdays, special events as far as school, graduations, whatever that is, family events. That's just extra money, you know, for the kid.
That's extra
Because
money outside of the regular maintenance.
outside of the child support. If you're put on child support, but if men are doing those things and they're actively in the life, and they're actively aware of what's going on in the kid's life, not as far as clothing need, how much they eat, the activities that they're involved in, then I don't think any woman in their right mind would put a man on child support. But so many men don't put into account all this extra money that these women need to take care of these kids. They always assume that it doesn't take that much to take care of a kid. Well, how would you know? You're not doing it. And if you ever took the initiative to actually be a family with this woman and marry her and live with her, you would know exactly how much it costs to parent a kid. But since they never done that, they never took a woman that seriously or their kid that seriously to know that it costs more than $300 a month that the court might make you pay. It costs way more than that to sponsor a child. And they just act like that's just too much, or they just act like that I don't want the man all of my business. Someone shouldn't have to tell me. Well, yeah, someone shouldn't have to tell you, but the fact that you couldn't make your family work, and now you can't, and even outside of that, you can't even come to an agreement or get your ex on the same page with you as far as how to take care of this kid, then yeah, you need a third party to help both of you all do this. That's not for you. I was happy to I didn't even wait for child support. As soon as me and my first son's mother broke up, I went to the military and told them, take this much out of my check to give to her. Because I just knew I didn't want to even have to deal with the back and forth, how much you go give me, this and that. No, here you go. You getting that every month. She gets her money before I get mine. So because I just know I have to take care of my kid. Now that's outside of that, I still do the summer clothes, the winter clothes, extra money for Christmas, extra money for birthdays, extra money for Easter, whatever is extra, I give that also. Spending travel money. Then when my kids call me, hey daddy, I need this, I need that.
Uber Eats.
Yeah, so and that's gonna come up to way more than the $300 that's or $400 that some of these people are paying. So I don't even understand why they tripping about some child support if they're going to take care of their kid anyways. It's just a way for them not to take care of their kid, or take care of their kid when they want to, or make their kid a third or fourth priority over things like I've seen a lot of men have excuses like I got to get my car fixed or I got to do X, Y, Z. All that does not matter. You need to find a way, because women has been finding a way to take care of their kid when all these emergencies come up and their car's down and all these things. They still have to provide. So you cannot have an excuse to not provide, and that's what these guys want to do. They want to have an excuse to not provide. So that's why they don't want child support involved. I mean, child support is good and it's bad depending on how you look at it. But active fathers, I don't think active fathers would even care that much about child support. I think it's only fathers that's not active that feel like they're being made to pay child support. Like if I'm going to give this kid this money anyways, it does not matter how it comes. So I don't understand the problem.
Right. And I like what you said that, if a man is doing what he's supposed to be doing for his children, a woman shouldn't put him on child support. I agree with that, but then I mentioned that question about should active fathers be put on child support? And like you said, active is so subjective. And I think the reason child support can be necessary is because of that fact. What's active to you is not necessarily active. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I'm not even gonna tell no personal stories. But like some people think that they're more active than they are. And I think the custodial parent, whether it's a male or a female, hey Rilla.
I couldn't get off mute. I'm just playing with y'all. What's going on, family?
I was like,
what's going on? No. What up, family? This is all familiar faces. Hopefully, this is a safe space.
This is always a safe space.
I got you.
No. I'm listening. And I'm hoping to learn tonight. But I'm also looking to put some paint where it ain't, and maybe add some perspective from somebody who is extremely familiar with child support system, Georgia in particular, well over 18 years, 20 years of experience with Georgia child support. And so I just want to add some paint where it's ain't, and maybe some balance. And I did, get to see the conversation between you and
For hell, which was
so.
crazy.
So I came in on the tail end. I was wrapping up something. I came in on the tail end of what you were saying, Ash. So I don't want to interrupt. My apologies.
Okay, so yeah, we're actually gonna recap that whole Sir Health conversation. Okay,
So we got
just a
Georgia
little bit later.
child support experience, 18. I think we got what 15, 16 years of Illinois child support experience on the panel.
Yeah, and so I want to be clear. I like to have balanced conversations, right? And I like to think about all the different layers. So I'm not actually for or against child support. I think it just depends on the situation. That's me personally. But anyway, I was just saying, like, this idea of active is what's questionable because, okay, you might show up to a basketball game, you might drop off some toys in May, but then you don't see your kid until the end of July. Like, is that really active? And of course, there are women out here keeping their kids from men. That is also an issue that can't be ignored. But, active
You
is
gonna save that for another topic though.
No, we can talk about. I was about to say we
Well,
got.
Hey,
listen,
let's get
but
to
what
it.
they did though.
like
Let's
what's
get to it.
active. I want to
Well,
share.
here's the thing: the courts are gonna tell you what active is. Number one.
Okay.
Number two. When you say Ash, da 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 da, but you kind of negate everything that you just said.
I really don't. It's you
Okay.
gotta look
So
at everything. I know people see it that way.
Well, because it kind of does, because now I'm paying attention. What takes precedence is the ending part of your statement. So here's the truth of the matter. What we really kind of need to discuss sometimes, honestly, because we have to also take into account parents, custodial, non-custodial, whatever. That just there's a lot of situations where people just not operating in the best interest of the child. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be starting from operating in the best interest of the child. Okay. So if we do that, then we can actually tackle the topic of child support, the amounts, what's fair, what's reasonable, what's not reasonable, what's average, what's not average. We can tackle visitation, right? Because the same way, people can say, well, these fathers aren't doing. I can name countless instances of fathers who want to do. And I think the other thing that people don't understand, and I know in particular, I know at least 3 young ladies who are on this panel that are in Georgia, and your experiences may be different, or you may be able to chime in, but I know for a fact, my experience in Georgia is that I was explicitly told Georgia is a woman and child state, which means what? We're always going to advocate for the woman and the child. Guess who that puts on the outskirts? And that's who we consider last. Georgia literally just started considering the income of the mother when they're trying to calculate the amount for child support. I think Illinois is the same way too. They just started considering that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I have a question though. So you're talking about the importance of putting the child first, right? Why is child support considered something that doesn't put the child first? Like, if it's ensuring that the child gets money for what the child needs on a consistent basis,
well,
why is that something considered bad?
Well, first, let me apologize. I'm too anxious to jump in. Right. So I don't want to be disrespectful. I don't want to be rude. And I definitely don't want to be overly masculine. I actually want to.
No such thing.
Here's the thing. Child support does not. Okay. But let me tell you why I think the way that I think. Because when I went into child support office and I said, hey, I'm not seeing my kids. I'm not able to see my kids. You know what child support told me? Oh, that's a separate process. You need
It
to
is.
hire an
It
attorney.
is.
I got you. I hear you. So then it should be financial child support. I get that it's a separate, I get that it's a separate process. It should not be. If we're talking about a system that's supposed to advocate in the best interest of the child. Now, if we really want to have the conversation, child support is really, it's not even about the financial child support as a system. It's not about the best interest of the child. You know what it's about? It's about making sure that mothers and, you know, women who have children or whatever, custodial parents, are not a burden to taxpayers applying for TANF.
Correct. Yeah, no, I agree, right? Right. This is the thing that confuses me about the way some of these conversations go, right? Because I hear a lot of y'all who are very comfortable advocating, happy about the patriarchal system, men being providers and leaders and all of these things. And that whole idea, you're absolutely right, is rooted in patriarchal thinking, right? Because it's like the women are supposed to take care of the kids at home and the men have to be the providers. So the government doesn't want to have to step in and provide for your children. They're like, you need to do it because you're the patriarch. It's the same thought process, right? But it's like you want it on one end, but then on this end, when it don't seem to work in your favor,
Cannon.
you're like upset about it.
Cannon,
So like
with
Mr.
all due
Research
respect, hey,
TV.
listen, I could pipe down, but Cannon, with all due respect, I hadn't finished my thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So what I was saying was,
sorry, pause. Well, I'm just really one question: are you against it or not? I just wanted to get your stance.
Against child support?
Yeah,
I'm against the state telling anybody. Listen. Let me say it this way. I'm gonna say it the same way Sir Hale said it. For dudes, and we know these dudes exist. I hear you, Reagan. I hear you. For dudes that are not on a function, and I got dudes that I grew up with. I know these dudes exist, right? They not on their functions. They not contributing. They're not contributing 1 red cent to the well-being of their children. Yeah, child support needs to be in place for that, right? So if you telling me for active fathers, in my opinion, that's not subjective. Active fathers, yo, Darwin. If me and you are having a conversation around what we consider to be active fathers to be, me and you are going to come really quick to a resolution and an understanding of what an active father is.
So what is?
I mean,
you know,
I don't know. I don't know. I will hope we will, but I've had these conversations with plenty of guys, and when I sit back and talk to them, they leave out a lot of stuff. They leave out a lot of stuff, and I just be sitting there like.
So then it becomes for me, what is the lot of stuff that you're saying they leaving out? Because if you're functioning, wait, listen to me. If you have a child under 2 households, they're already at a disadvantage, which is why I advocate for optimally they need to be under the same household with that parent. When that doesn't happen, you know what we're trying to do? We're trying to produce the same results of a 2-parent household with 2 separate households. You can't, it's not gonna happen, fam. Well, you can't do it.
Well, the goal is to try to come as close as possible to have that child.
You can't do it.
No. To have that child live to come close as possible to have that child live a comfortable life. So if you was in the house with the mother, you combine the incomes, which means you'll have more money to provide for this child. So just because the man is not in the house, the child shouldn't suffer. The child that you two made should not suffer financially at all.
No, bro. No. And this is why I would disagree with
financially,
you. No. Listen.
Yes, the child will suffer.
No.
Child shouldn't suffer.
No, bro. Listen. When you have 2 okay, let me tell you what I tell. Listen. I'm on child support. I ain't no deadbeat. I said in the group, I pay enough that their mother was able to go get them a 5-bedroom house. And we talked about this. Okay. So I'm Gucci on that. And I don't complain. Only complaint that I have is that the state of Georgia gets to regulate what I do in terms of my monetary contribution and when I get penalized. Like, so if I don't.
Go ahead, really. Go ahead.
So if I don't meet certain, so listen to what I'm saying, Ash. If I don't meet certain requirements according to the state of Georgia, not according to what your belief is or what anybody else's belief is on the panel or what I think I should contribute. If I don't meet their minimum standard for what they think I should contribute to the household, then I'm penalized, which means what? I could be thrown in jail. I could have my license suspended. I could have an F on my report card. All those things can take place for the non-custodial parent. Now, when it comes to active parenting, right? And I get it, trying to co-parent, that's not ideal, and that's not even something that I push, right? So we talking about finances. While I agree with you, Darwin, that the child shouldn't suffer, you know what I told my kids one time? Hey, fam, if I was here with your mama and I lost my job, guess what we would have to do? Adjust as a family. You know how many times men, well, maybe not. There are instances where men don't earn or women don't earn, and there's a two-parent household. You know what they do? They adjust. The problem that I have is when the state says, well, we're involved in how you adjust now. We're involved in how you adjust. Because guess what? If I go to the state, let's say if I lost my job, right? And I go to the state, do you know that there's an entire process for them to recognize that, hey, I lost my job and I'm not able to meet this obligation. Like there are court dates and all types of things set. By the time you get through all that, you know what they're still saying? You're in arrears now, and you're still responsible for that.
Okay.
So the system is broken. We can't wait, but we can't skip past that.
Right.
So really, that answers my question. I was going to ask you, if you're paying child support, then what would be the issue? Like if you're paying, like a lot of men say, I pay more than this, So then what's the issue? But that I can understand that if you have different hardships, right? So is it more that the men are like saying, okay, I don't want to pay child support because I might have some hardships? Is that it? Or is it they just don't want to pay on a monthly basis? They have to pay. And then think about it.
I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know who you're talking about when you say, I know who you're talking about. I just personally don't know who y'all are talking about when y'all say these men that don't want to pay. I have a thought, but I want you to finish. But I just want to at least acknowledge the brothers that do pay.
Right.
That are caught up.
Brothers who pay, we completely get it. But here's the disconnect. Most child support payments are not being made. So brothers are saying, like Sir Harold last night, I'm still baffled. I need a nuclear scientist to come explain to me how 75% of, he said, Black men are active fathers. And the statistic I gave does not just include Black men, but they are a part of this group of people who have to pay child support. Most child support payments are not being made.
But the statistic that you gave was for all men, regardless of gender, right? I mean, not gender, race, right?
Right.
So when we talk in Black specifically, right? So let me ask you this. Would you agree with this? Let me ask you this. What segment of men, because there's this ongoing theory, hasn't been proven or disproven, that there are a certain segment of men that have multiple children with multiple baby mamas. And if we want to go entertainment value, we could say, I see you, Cannon. So I want you, please, if you got the stats, like come in, do what you got to do. But I could tell you, I mean, listen, I'm ready. So if we wanted to go entertainment wise, and we know these men are financially capable of taking care of kids, but I'm just saying for the optics of, we're talking men, one man, multiple children with multiple baby mamas. So if I go and look at like somebody like a Shawty Low, right? And he had up to 20 plus kids, maybe 30, and that show got shut down, right? If he's put on child support, is he not included in that number when he's not able to meet his obligation?
He's included in the number, but is he the bigger fraction?
Well, okay.
Because if he's the bigger fraction, and if that's what you're telling me, then why are you advocating for this?
Okay, so let me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you how I know that that's not the bigger fraction, because most Black women don't have multiple baby fathers. Like you would have to have
that.
The statistics.
So this the thing.
If you go to CDC statistics,
but ma'am, you're missing it. It's not about the Black women.
You went to blackdemographics.com.
No, listen. It has nothing to do with Black women having multiple baby fathers. If I'm a man and I impregnate 5 women, right? I have 5 children with 5 different women, right? All 5 of them put me on child support, and I'm not meeting my obligation on 5 of them. That's not on the Black woman. That's on that one Black man. Now I'm using that as an extreme, but we all know that this happens.
That's a part of it.
That's what I was asking you.
And I agree.
And I don't think that's nuanced or anything else. I think that's part of the conversation because listen, I can it. Oh, she's talking to.
She's talking.
Okay, no, it's cool. So, because when I listen to Mr. Palmer, one thing that I learned is that most of the child support orders come from what? Divorce.
That's true.
You know what happens in a divorce? It's mandated. It ain't no me and my ex. We went in there. We negotiated. We had our own game plan. You know what they said? No, this is what you're gonna pay. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna. Okay, cool, right? So now what's the next thing that happens? If you're a working man, which I don't know, and I'm not trying to speak for a lot of divorced men. I'm just speaking anecdotally in this sense because I'm trying to make sense of this when we start talking all these numbers, right? And I'm telling you as somebody that's experienced, and we got 15 years of experience from Illinois too. So we sit up here, we're literally almost talking about 35 years of experience dealing with government and child support system, right? So here's the thing. Equally in this scenario, like with, let me see how I can word it. I really do want this to make sense because it makes sense.
Something.
It makes sense in my head. Go ahead, Darren. Let me gather my thought because it makes sense in my head, and I really do want to articulate this correctly.
We have to. This is what we got to do. We got to stop taking these one-offs, like your situation. I understand your situation. You're fighting a battle, and that's why you feel the way you feel. But it's more men that is not taking care of their kids than men that's actually taking care of their kids. And this is. I'm from where you from, and this is a lot of men don't want to say anything to other men. We don't want to get in their business. We don't. Hey man, you need to do this with your child. Your child is over there doing this. We don't get involved in that, and we need to. We don't hold men accountable for the things they do. Me personally, I don't hang with guys that don't take care of their kids. I just don't do it. I just can't find myself to even respect them. But going to court for 15 years, sitting in that courtroom.